want. So why is it that some people get the changes they want and other people don't? It's not about information, it's about transformation. So it's not the know-how, it's the show-how. It's the show-how. You say you want more money, you want more love, but you keep sabotaging everything that you've been dreaming of. You say you wanna lose weight, get healthy, and look great, but you keep eating donuts, hot dogs, and ice cream cake. You wanna quit your job, get a better one, ain't more cash, but you keep staying home and smoking a lot of hash. You wanna have a better body, but you don't wanna sweat. You wanna be the boss, but you don't wanna take the test. You wanna be successful, but you don't wanna pay the price. You wanna have your dream come true, but you don't wanna roll the dice. You wanna have a great relationship, but you don't want this rejection. You wanna have a good connection, but you don't wanna risk affection. You wanna have the world listen, but you don't wanna speak. You wanna have victory, but you don't want defeat. You wanna have a celebration, but you don't wanna mourn. You wanna have a resurrection, but you don't want a crucifixion. You wanna have a life of passion, but you don't want pain. You wanna have a life of pleasure, but you don't wanna end the shame. You wanna have the freedom, but you don't want the fear. You wanna have the lessons, but you don't want the mirror. You want the gold, but you don't want the fire. You want the game, but you don't want the pain. You want the rain, but you don't want the clouds. You want the peace, but you don't want the war. You want the love, but you don't want the hate. You want the joy, but you don't want the sadness. You want the freedom, but you don't want the fear. You want the lessons, but you don't want the mirror. You want the lessons, but you don't want the mirror. You want the lessons, but you don't want the mirror. You wanna have the pride, but you don't want the guilt. You wanna have the rest, but you don't want the toil. You wanna have the prize, but you don't want the fight. You wanna have the day, but you don't want the night. You wanna have the sun, but you don't want the clouds. You wanna have the laughs, but you don't want the cries. You wanna have the dreams, but you don't want the doubts. You wanna have the dance, but you don't want the chance. You wanna have the success, but you don't wanna try. You wanna have the wings, but you don't wanna fly. You wanna have the winning, but you don't want the losing. You wanna have the passion, but you don't want the cold. You wanna have the young, but you don't want the old. You wanna have the inspiration, but you don't want the frustration. You wanna have the foundation, but you don't want the destruction. You wanna have the ideals, but you don't want the real. You wanna have the heaven, but you don't want the earth. You wanna have the death, but you don't want the birth. You wanna have the creativity, but you don't want the mess. You wanna have intelligence, but you don't want the stress. You wanna have the breakthrough, but you don't want the breakdown. You wanna have the smile, you want the frown. You wanna have the words, but you don't want the silence. You wanna have the presence, but you don't want the absence. You wanna have adventure, but you don't want the risk. You wanna have the masterpiece, but you don't want the test. You wanna have the power, but you don't want the responsibility. You wanna have the wisdom, but you don't want the humility. You wanna have the leader, but you don't want the follower. You wanna have the mentor, but you don't want